The Legacy of Thieves collection, also known as Uncharted 4 and the DLC Lost Legacy, has a few really difficult, tedious and annoying trophies. So I'll tell you my tips on how you can platinum the game as efficiently as possible, which can save you a lot of time by not having to replay levels and doing super repetitive tasks. Quick disclaimer before we jump into the first tip: the footage is all from the original games, but the gameplay and tips will apply to the Legacy of Thieves version, of course. The only difference is your game will look much better. The first tip is for the crushing difficulty. It's recommended to do this on your second playthrough because you will have unlocked a few bonuses and mods that can make crushing so much easier. You will have unlocked things like infinite ammo and bullet speed bonuses. You can use these modifiers when playing on crushing as it will not block any trophies, and this will make things much easier. You're also allowed to die as much as you like on this playthrough, as it will only restart you at the encounter itself. There's only 13 encounters that will actually cause you some sort of trouble, so I advise you to use stealth as much as possible when facing these. Just don't rush through it when you become overly confident in your skills. Just go slow and steady and you'll have no problem with this difficulty. The next tip is for the Speedrun trophy, which will require you to complete the game in 6 hours or less. And this is much easier than it may sound actually. If you play through it as fast as you can on the Explorer difficulty, avoiding encounters and skipping cutscenes, which is a very important thing, you can do this in around 5 hours or so with plenty of time left. It may be useful to have a guide open next to you, as you may struggle with some puzzles that you forgot. You want to aim to be around chapter 12 at the 3-hour mark, and if you pause the game it also shows the timer, but it's good to make save slots along the way to ensure that you can fall back on those if you do happen to miss the time eventually. You may also want to try and get the sharpshooter trophy in this playthrough. By using the lock-on effect and avoiding as many encounters as you can, this shouldn't cause you any problems. Try to use stealth and melee as much as possible, and its tip would be to shoot the big dudes with lots of armor on them in the later chapters of the game as accurately as possible to make sure you can get that 70% more. You can basically farm them at this point. And another trophy to do is the parrying sequence near the end of the game, and you have to complete it perfectly. This is sort of a story spoiler, so skip to the next tip if you haven't already completed the game. You can do this on any playthrough or via encounter select, but do this on the Explorer difficulty to make your life as easy as can be. The only tip I have for this is to dodge whatever way Rafe is swinging. It's really as simple as seeing when he swings left, you dodge left, and when he swings right, you dodge right. It may take you a few tries, but it's not too difficult once you see this movement. Next up we have a few trophies for the DLC Lost Legacy, which is strangely required for the Platinum trophy and not a separate one in this one unfortunately. And I have one tip for a trophy that you really need to focus on. But first up is the crushing difficulty. Again, if you've already done crushing in Uncharted 4, you should be better prepared for this playthrough. Luckily the game is much shorter than Uncharted 4, and the same bonuses and tips apply here, so make sure to use them. Way of the Warrior is arguably the stupidest trophy here. You have to play up until chapter 5 without using any guns, weapons or explosives, only using your fist. I know, it's ridiculous. And it's similar to the Uncharted 4 where you have to complete a chapter or two, but now it's half the game. It's not too difficult luckily, so just play on Explorer difficulty on a fresh new save, and make sure to never grab any weapons or swords and just play through it only using your fist. It will take you about an hour or so to do this, and don't worry about checkpoints or dying or whatever, as you'll only restart at the counter itself. And obviously the amount of collectibles in both games is a lot, but the next trophy can save you a lot of time by making it much easier to find collectibles. And of course we're talking about the
Yes, Queen!
trophy. This is available in chapter 4, the big open area, and it will require you to find 11 tokens to then use in the machine. This will give you an in-game collectible tracker. It will start making a noise, vibrate your controller, and pulse a light when you are close to a collectible. Unlocking this now not only helps you find collectibles more easily, meaning you don't have to keep an eye out on your second playthrough for them, but it will also mean you don't have to play the entire chapter again. So don't make the mistake I made, where I had to do the entire chapter again. You can find the tokens the legitimate way in game, which isn't too difficult, or by using a guide, it's up to you. Now there are also miscellaneous trophies you need to watch out for, but I advise you to look at these after you have finished your first playthrough. Some of these you might have done naturally, whilst others may require you to play in a specific way, such as stealth kills from above or getting kills whilst hanging on a rope. These can be done throughout any playthrough or via encounter select, but most of these are fairly straightforward and easy to do. But if you're having any trouble with any of these trophies, I'd refer to a guide. It's really not that difficult in all honesty. If you happen to be playing the original game and not the Legacy of Thieves edition, you will actually have 2 Platinum trophies available because they are 2 separate games. They have the same requirements, but in Uncharted 4 you will have a few multiplayer trophies. These are very easy and only require you to play 5 or so games, and with 3 easy simple tasks. Anyway, those are the main trophies you need to watch out for when going for the Platinum. Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy are equally great games that provide such a humorous and satisfying story and gameplay. It really is a great trophy hunting experience. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and liking the video if you thought this was helpful. And that's it. See ya.
Well, this should be fun.